All right, let's get to the first one.
I actually am ready to defend Todd Bowles. If I told you the Kansas City Chiefs were down 1 point, 25-24, with 27 seconds to go, I think they have all 3 timeouts in this spot, and they have the ball on the 30-yard line. Who's winning that game? Down 1 point, 27 seconds to go, own 30, your ball, 3 timeouts. Who would you pick blindly to win that game?
The Chiefs.
Me too. So what you do by kicking the extra point is actually de-incentivize them to go for it versus extend the game. And I don't think in that spot they're going for it in a way. Yes, they did throw passes. I understand that. But I think it would be different formationally, the way that which they would hurry it up, etc. I think by having a tie game, you're allowing the Chiefs mentally to say, all right, we'll send it to overtime. And if you win the coin toss, they may never get the ball back in that spot.
Sure.
So what they did was like, we'll give it a shot. If we get it, great. If not, no big deal. But if you're down 1, it's now 4-down territory no matter what. You're not punting the ball away. You're calling plays differently. You're not playing safe. You're playing aggressive. And Mahomes playing aggressive is not something I want because he's the best ever at that.
I don't hate that as an argument.
Because
they punt. To remind people what happened here, the Bucs kicked the extra point to tie it. Mm-hmm. There's 27 seconds left.
Yes.
That's more than double the famous, they had 13 seconds against the Bills. Quick math.
Well done.
And the Chiefs had an opportunity to go down the field, get into field goal range, and they got stopped. They went 3 and out, and they punted with about 10 seconds left, whatever it was, punted to go to overtime.
Yeah, so I think you have to combine the decision to go for 2 or not with the decision to take a timeout just before you scored in the first place. Like, I think that they're obviously 2 separate decisions, but they're both mistakes in my opinion. Like, yes, in the situation you were left with, it is definitely a factor that if you go for 2 and get it and take the lead, you are making the Chiefs and Mahomes more aggressive in that final 27 seconds. And we know from experience, they are capable of scoring from that point of view, as opposed to they're perfectly happy to take it to overtime as well. So that's definitely a factor. But that you didn't need to have 27 seconds on the clock. Like, you could have taken it all the way down and left them with under 10 seconds to make that work. And that would have been...
That's a sunk cost mistake, though, at that point.
It is, but these are 2, like, I think they're one in the same in terms of they were never thinking about going for 2. Had they have been thinking about that, and this was part of the decision-making process, what happens if we leave them with 27? Well, don't leave them with 27 seconds on the clock. That was a controllable thing that you put yourself in, that, like, you were in control of that situation. So I don't think you can use that situation to say that's the reason you don't go for 2 because there's too much time on the clock. Well, you controlled that. You called the timeout. You could have run up and spiked it, taken a bunch of time off.
It still screws you over in a tie game, though, too. I will say...
What screws you over in a tie game?
The time issue.
No, agreed. But that defense of going for the extra point as opposed to 2 rests on what is being sort of articulated as just an unfortunate set of circumstances that you had no control over.
How much time, I know people are afraid of Mahomes and giving him the ball back. How much time should they leave on the clock when you have first and goal from the 1? Because I think about one weird play, right? You've got the extra man on the goal line plays that teams run.
Yeah.
Right? So there are quirky things. Drake May spent 11 seconds. Right now, we knew we had no time left, but he spent 11 seconds running around making a play. What if Baker Mayfield runs around for a 10-second play, and that wastes one of your downs? Like, how much time do you want to leave to feel comfortable?
So it's like, okay, from when Trey Palmer takes it to the 1, goes down, there's 35 seconds or something left on the clock, right? They choose to call a timeout. You're asking the question effectively.
Do you wait till there's 15 seconds? You can't wait till there's 10 seconds.
I would spike the ball with like 12 seconds on the clock.
Spike?
Yes. I would spike the ball with 12 seconds on the clock.
Oh, that
gives you 2 plays.
No, that's an absurd. You do not waste one of your plays.
But if you take it down to 12 seconds, you don't have the 3 plays anyway. So I would spike it.
But I'm saying you don't need to land at 0 seconds.
No, you don't. In fact, you can't because you have to score, right? So the question is, you're weighing up time versus how many shots do I need to get into the end zone.
That's not enough time.
Why not?
Because
that gives you two.
If you're
plays.
afraid of Mahomes, again, the 13 seconds stands in your brain.
Yes.
Right? But you can kick it off with 7 seconds left. Kick it out of the end zone, give Mahomes and them 7 or 8 seconds, and you should be safe. You should be safe.
Yeah.
Right? But you still need time. Like if you call timeout with 20 seconds left, you've got enough time to run 3 plays. Like we're not talking a massive difference here.
No, but your problem is what happens if you score on the first play. So if you take it down to 20, you call the timeout or whatever. Now, if you score immediately, now there's 17 seconds on the clock, and actually that's doable.
You have to think of what if it takes 3 plays too. I don't know. Anyway, it's a reasonable, not a lot of shouting. There was reason in that.
No shouting.
It was a very reasonable. Evan Cohen defending Todd Bowles, reasonable take, and one I can kind of accept. The biggest thing for me is if you're up 1 as the Bucs, Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to play 4-down football instead of 3-down and punt.
Yeah,
that does change things.
Yes.
All right, let's get to the second one.
I've made this case before. I'm going to make it again, and you can laugh at me again if you so choose.
Do it.
I just like watching Cooper Rush operate the offense more than I do Dak. Cooper Rush is more poised. He actually throws it better upfield. He's a little more consistently accurate, especially on 3rd and 4th down. I just like what he's made of. No, he can't move at all. He's a statue. But now so is Dak Prescott. And it has come to this for me as a Dallas Cowboy fan. Jerry Jones made Dak Prescott the highest paid, the most overpaid player in pro football history. And I trust the backup quarterback more than I do Dak Prescott. It's just shameful.
That's good. That's a throwback.
I mean,
that's a good one.
This is why Skip Bayless is the master of the Shouty Show segment.
Special
because
stuff.
Never in a million years, I've been telling you don't think Shouty Show enough, right? And every time you're not even in the ballpark, right? I could have sat here for an hour and I never would have come up with, I just trust Cooper Rush more than Dak Prescott. I just really like watching Cooper Rush throw the ball. Love it.
That's a throwback. Again, I told the story, I think 2 weeks ago on the show, where I first heard Skip, like where it first caught my ear, the Skip Baylessization of our sports media when he chose Jay Cutler and Vince Young over Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. And it's like, wow, that's unique. That's a good take right there. I think deep down in my 2007 brain, I was like, well, this guy's not going to last long on TV.
Yeah.
But you're right. I don't think like that enough.
But it turns out that's what people want to hear.
Skip's back. I mean, maybe being away from the game a little bit has brought him back to his roots of really digging up some good ones, which is the backup Cooper Rush is just better than Dak Prescott.
So, contrast this with the last Shouty Show take, right? That was a fairly reasonably measured,
with
sensible,
facts, with facts in there,
sensible argument. A prerequisite to a true Shouty Show take is that it can't be rational. It has to be insane. Like it's got to be nuts, otherwise it doesn't qualify properly.
Yeah,
you can rant and rave about something, but if it's like a reasonable point fundamentally, it's only half a Shouty Show segment, right? It has to be unhinged for it to be a true Shouty Show masterpiece.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if there's does he have like a piece of paper where he brainstorms some of these things? Like I got a top 3, Jerry, something about Jerry, something else, and then Cooper Rush is the future, right? He writes that down, he circles it, like let's roll with this one. All right, honey, press record, we're doing it. Cooper Rush is the future.
I just have more trust in him than Dak.
I will say I've seen because you see a lot of rumblings when you're just on social media. I've seen other points that people are like, well, Cooper Rush was like undefeated a couple of years ago when they put him in. He's undefeated. Like completely ignoring what the Cowboys team has been this year compared to 2 years ago as a 12-win team. So anyway, we're seeing a lot more Cooper Rush coming up. Dak Prescott officially on IR. He's going to at least miss 4 games, and the 3-win Cowboys might not have any incentive to bring Dak Prescott back for the rest of the year. So something to keep an eye on. But at the end of the day, I'm happy for Skip because he gets to see Cooper Rush at least for 4 more games, and we know that that's going to bump the Cowboys.
Apparently, that's what he enjoys doing these days.
That's what he wants to do.
So good for him.
All right, let's go.
Detroit Lions are going to acquire Myles Garrett for 3 first-round picks, Jahmyr Gibbs, and a second-round pick. And the Detroit Lions are going to win the Super Bowl. They are a.
They're going to throw in the Joe Louis fist.
Hey,
they're going to throw the GM building. Like what else? The bridge, that big bridge to Canada.
And everybody said no. Look, they need a pass rusher in the worst way. Aiden Hutchinson may come back. This guy is still young, in the prime of his career. And if I'm Detroit, I can win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs is a good player, but he's replaceable. Right, so Brad Holmes.
It's really four when you think about it, because Gibbs was a first-rounder last year.
Brad Holmes, who came from the Rams, the F them picks. Wait, there's going to be, these are going to be low picks, and you're not going to have the ability to get somebody.
Yeah. This is the Herschel Walker trade?
Yeah. Why wouldn't they win the Super Bowl with Myles Garrett?
I'm just quickly scanning through the contract that we signed to find out, how watertight this is before we talk.
Mike Tannenbaum, he's our boss, for those who don't know, over here at the 33rd team. So, I got no comment.
What I like.
Why would you do that? Why would you guys do that to us, Janko? Come on, man.
What I liked the most about that, right, was it's really hard to try and make a sensible point while everybody around you is laughing.
I was going to say the same exact thing. Mike is a pro, man.
No, but
he played through it. He played through the disparagement of his colleague.
He did, but you could sense it was work, Like they're busy cackling away at the point he's trying to make, and he's just like head down. I'm going to try and make this argument, and just giggling whilst he's doing it.
This was I think Mike came in with 3 or 4 bullet points. He only got through his first one. The rest of the set's cracking up at him. He's like, no, I got more. Like, it's going to be a low pick, and, Aiden's going to come back for the Super Bowl. Look at this pairing. Like, why wouldn't you do that? He's played
But he
through
felt,
it.
the way he was sort of trying to justify it, felt a little bit like...
No, he put the work in.
No, he did, but it felt like he was a little bit hurt that people were laughing that hard at the suggestion. It was in his head, it's like, no, I think this will work.
He had
everyone's
to know.
Just laughing.
He had to know this would, create some chuckles or something.
Well... Controversy.
Controversy. It's an aggressive trade.
But this is, I don't think people have taken this approach too much with the Shouty Show people, right? What if every time Skip or Stephen A. Smith pitched one of their lunatic takes, the response was simply uncontrolled cackling and giggling, right?
That stuff goes
I think
viral.
That would knock him off his game.
Yeah.
I don't think Skip would be able to just tough it through and keep making his argument if the guy opposite him is literally just laughing his balls off.
So I did text Mike and I said, good luck with all the feedback you're getting from your trade proposals. Because he's had a few of those other trade proposals through the years, or suggestions. Like he suggested Shedeur, the Cowboys tank for Shedeur instead of signing Dak, or something to that effect, right? Like that would be the future. But that's, you're being aggressive on Get Up, on those shows. You're competing too. Think about the competition. You hear that a lot, right? Like the SportsCenter days. You hear about like Dan Patrick and Rich Eisen and all those guys coming up. They were all competing, right, for airtime and to be the the top SportsCenter anchor. You're competing. You're in the arena of ideas, and some of those ideas are so crazy. You're competing with it. You gotta, it's like the steroid era in baseball. Yeah. Everyone else is doing it. So you sit there like, well, do I? I had to sit there and think about it in college. Do I have to do steroids now because everyone else is? You got to think about it.
Well, you're sitting there.
I never did steroids.
You're sitting there.
I did. Wait, can we just get? I did not take steroids, Rafael Palmeiro style.
Maybe you should have. Maybe you got drafted.
I would have been throwing high 90s.
Right.
And I would have been an absolute. You talk about, I don't use my height enough. I would have been an absolute maniac on the mound. It would have been.
You're busy saying this like it's a good thing. What you're articulating is the reason you never made it.
I stayed true to the game. I did not take any illegal substances. I was afraid to take. They give you a list of stuff that's approved. Like, just use this company, which is all like a scam.
Right.
Just use this company. You'll never test positive. I was like, that's it. I'm only buying from them.
It was all kinds of stupid. Everyone else is there roided to the gills, and you're like, no, I'm going to keep it clean.
I did.
Get run out of the game.
Yeah, merely top out at AAA. Anyway, Mike T, do you have any disparaging remarks about our boss?
What I was saying is, imagine like watching Skip Bayless, talking up the Cooper Rush era, and then being like, man, how do I even come up with something that'll top that, right? And apparently it's trading for Myles Garrett for 3 first-round picks.
Again, I picture Mike's like writing down the trade, and it's like 2 first-rounders. What if I add a 3rd first-rounder in there?
Yeah.
And then circles that, brings it to the table. Everybody uses pen and paper, writes down their ideas in my world.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.